Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your busy week to engage with the co-op. We do have lots to talk about. Unfortunately, most of it needs to be talked about in the closed door session. That said, we do have some things we'd like to talk about here, beginning with the tech update. Rao, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Give me 1 second. I'm going to paste the link here. Okay, you should be able to see it now. So the work is proceeding along on the block receiver and finalization front. Tomislav has completed fixing the block receiver, and that PR is now merged. So he's proceeding with troubleshooting the block processing part now, because he's got a lot of conflicts in that area that he has to resolve. So that when that's done, he can then focus on the finalization piece. Even there with finalization, most of the code is already there. So it's really what he's doing now is making sure all these pieces, both individually and together, work bug-free and don't create unexpected situations or cases. So he's continuing with that work. And then when he's done with that, that zipper will be doing the merging of the state. And then we will have the version close to the block merge version that we will probably put on the testnet. So that's what's going on there. A lot of PRs that we've been talking about in the last several weeks have now been merged. You can look it up in the repo. Part of the work, other than this finalization that's been going on, is this ability to update the registry so that we can do most of the changes to any of the contracts as soft forks as opposed to hard forks. So Will and Max Will has been leading the charge there for the most part, and Max has been helping him with testing and taking on some tasks underneath there. In addition, they were also working on the random seed, changing the random seed calculation so that it doesn't depend on timestamp, because we don't have anything that we're depending on as a wall clock of any kind in the system now. So both those pieces have been completed. The random seed calculation stuff, I think the PRs are in there. There is reviews to be done, and that work is proceeding well. And this POS vault public key parameter in Genesis is something that came out of that soft fork and the POS vault based on unforgeable name, creation of POS vault based on unforgeable name. That work and that PR is also merged now. So with that, Will actually has started to look into the preparatory technical work for bonding of external validators, because we want to create a process that works. Initially, it's going to be a little bit more manual, but eventually it has to be fully automated. So that's the goal. Eventually, I mean, early on, it's manual in the sense that we're working with friends and family type of a situation with external validators. We have some manual processes to approve who is or who is not able to bond. We're going to have a white list of people that can send bonding requests. So that is the work that Will is embarking on, to take a look at what are the process requirements and then what do we need to do there. And then when all the code is done for that, he'll be using the registry update process that was recently created that I just talked about. He'll use this bonding of external validators as a use case or test case for that new process we're putting in place. The registry update process and the POS contract update process, that's going to be how we're going to be changing any system contracts and all that going forward once this next release is on the mainnet. Stas is, like I said last time, he was working on property-based testing, and that's complete now. In the last few days, as NetZipper was testing the system with some heavy amount of data in relation to an external customer, he discovered a memory leak, and Stas and NetZipper are looking into that now. And this seems to be something that was recently introduced, because they looked at the testnet and the other versions, and the problem is not there, but it seems to be something that was introduced in the dev recently. So I think they have an idea of roughly where it is now, but they're going to be finishing that task in the near future. So that's what Stas has been busy with. And Dennis has continued to work on the BigInt implementation, BigInt type implementation in Golang. He's got his initial draft PR out. And so I think in the next several days, we should be able to bring that to conclusion. And Gurinder has been moving the network to AWS. So with this, we would now have had the procedures to run the network on at least 3 different cloud providers, all of them US-based, but, well, actually, I guess 4, because there's one in Germany also, and that we have the procedures for, and folks have been running the networks there. So parts of the dev environment are moved over there now, and is moving the testnet, and some of the mainnet observer nodes are running on AWS. So in general, we're set up to move to that infrastructure when necessary. So those are the main items from a tech update standpoint I think I wanted to cover. The team discussed kind of going forward after, like in, say, second half, changing to a more of a pair programming model, so that we have backup and resilience in case people need to take vacation or fall sick or something like that. So that will be something that we'll be spending some time on the second half, and that will be the ongoing process going forward from there. And of course, once we get to the second half, we're going to look at the commitments for the rest of the year and the next year, and update them based on what we know at that point in time. So that's kind of where we are with the overall tech update. Are there any questions, comments from anyone? All right, over to you, Greg.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very excited about the progress that the team is making. In particular, this morning, 2 a.m. for me, Anton gave a well-received demo to one of our corporate clients. Yeah, they were quite happy. We have since then uncovered some requirements of their system that make the process a little bit more complicated than we were hoping it would be. But overall, we've shown excellent progress, and they're very happy about what we demonstrated. It's really quite remarkable what can be accomplished with the blockchain now, and it means that we fit well into the enterprise setting, and that's a big deal in terms of the growth of the network. So we can give more details in the closed door session, but I did want to congratulate Anton and the whole team that we've got a platform that satisfies large scale industrial partners. So everybody should be proud. Okay, the board made a big decision yesterday. I can't really talk about it very much here in the community debrief, but I do urge you come to the Friday meeting. It's a good step forward for the co-op, and looking forward to community feedback for those who do engage. Eventually, this will lead to some IOBs that we've been socializing in the closed door sessions. So please be prepared to come up to speed on those if you have not heard about them, so that we can get these votes conducted. It's a very important set of IOBs, and really means is a watershed moment for the cooperative. Let's see. Any questions about any of that? I know I can't talk very much in detail in the community debrief, but maybe I can speak to sort of some generic questions if anyone has any questions.
Can we see the IOB somewhere?
Yes, absolutely. We'll get those published on GitHub probably by the end of today.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
There's also, I think, like a minimum 10-day period or something that we have to have them out in the public before we call for vote, something like that. I don't know, Ian, maybe you know that rule better.
Well, notice would have to go out to all the members that such a vote was happening. And I think that notice period is 10 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
All right. Daryl, are you ready for the week in review?
Yes. All right. So here's the week in review for last Thursday, June 2nd to today, June 8th. On Friday, in the Climate Coordination RCast, Jim Weitzcarver and his friend Art Kleiner joined us once again. Art is a thought leader in the collective intelligence space. In the 80s, he worked for the Next Whole Earth catalog and was a founding member of The Well. If anyone's old enough to remember that. His book, The Age of Heretics, is a history of the link between business and counterculture, was voted a best business book of 2008 by the Miami Herald. We had a really great conversation and we hope to have him back again. It's a great guy. So on Monday in the Casper Standup, I don't think I received the summary from you on this one, Greg.
Oh, sorry about that. Do you have any other updates? And I'll cover that at the end.
Sure. Okay. So yesterday in the communications working group, it was a working session primarily. We worked on the investment deck that Steve Henley and I have started. And this morning in the active member hang, Jim hosted from his hospital room. Jim had some surgery done on Monday and is going to be in the hospital for a few more days. So it was nice to see him post surgery, doing well, not super great, but he's hanging in there, and we all wish him a successful and speedy recovery. And that brings us to now.
Thank you, Daryl. Yeah, so with respect to the Casper, this week, Tomislav wanted to take a slot, and he walked us through a type constructor monad transformer that's called Alternate, that was developed by some folks in the functional programming community. He pointed out that there's a very common design pattern that shows up all throughout the code in the RChain node, and wanted a way to sort of reify the pattern and simplify it. And he found that Alternate was a good fit for that. So he walked us through that. And it turns out that the Alternate pattern, when he presented it, I recognized it as fitting in this longer stream of research that goes back to Oleg Kiselyov's work on the logic T monad transformer. So we discussed the mathematical underpinnings, so why they formalized it as a near semi-ring, and how that relates to the monad plus constructor, and then talked about its relevance to backtracking and searching constraint satisfaction network. So that's that was the content of the Casper Standup. Any questions? All right. I will mention that the co-op is working with Ralph Banco, who is a lawyer based in Capitol Hill. He is helping us get ready to be able to present RChain and sort of next gen blockchain stuff to various agencies and lawmakers and the Capitol. RChain has recognized that in order to work effectively, we're domiciled in the U.S., so in order to work effectively in the U.S., we have to we have to make contact with legislators, and so this is a step in that direction. Ralph is quite skilled and very experienced and seasoned in this, and so we're delighted to be working with him. So, any questions about that? Okay. Ralph and I have spent some time. Ralph is, as a first deliverable, writing an article, sort of RChain in plain English, which is aimed specifically at the Capitol Hill crowd. So we will make versions of that available as they become. As they become ready for public consumption. With that, I think that's all we've got for today. Any questions, comments, concerns, considerations from the community? Okay. Well, thanks everyone for your time. Please stay safe and do enjoy the last few days of spring before we roll into summer, and we will see you on the other side.